Well, it's time for the beach episode as the next Goha sibling shows up. Hey there, my name is Rex, and episode 55 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's another cool, fun one, honestly. I'm really enjoying the Goha siblings arc, as, we start things off in this episode getting to see them just hanging out, or at least all of them minus Euro, since he's been outed. But interestingly enough, we get a closer look at that one drone we saw for, a very brief moment. And it seems like this is more of kind of a nanny drone, it seems like, or at least is hanging around with one of the siblings. And their masks kind of open up, and they're allowed to, drink and everything, so we kind of can see some of their full faces. But we're mostly focusing on Yujin, who is training on a treadmill, so much so that he bursts out, ends up in the ocean, meets a dolphin, and that's the cold open for the episode. So, very obviously, we're going to be following Yujin as the antagonist for this episode, and honestly, I think he's pretty neat. I think he's pretty funny. He eventually catches up to the main group, everyone else, and he shows up on a boat on wheels, just completely enamored by the ocean, by the sea now, after his... after he ended up there. And some interesting details, this is probably, very likely the first time he's seeing the sea on Earth, as he kind of mentions that because they've been in space for so long. And so he shows up and challenges everyone else. And his duel that he convinced Neil to set up is all ocean based, as he basically sets up an ocean right in front of their school. I think it's pretty funny. At this point, though, Roman falls off and is saved by Euro, who shows up and then tells him that he's been enrolled in Goha 7 now, that he's going to be attending there. So I guess, along with being outed from the Goha company, not being allowed to hang out with his siblings, I guess also he can't attend whatever school he had, back up in space. So he's going to be attending Goha 7 with all of them. So I guess, that's kind of going to be the formula or so for the other siblings. And, kind of interestingly enough, as I mentioned, Euro, from his duel last episode, he didn't seem too bent out of shape about losing. And it's kind of similar for Yujin, who is now very... I love how eccentric he is, another weird... water guy, fish guy, although he doesn't use fish, as we find out from the duel. And in this duel, after their chain... Alright, Sebastian shows up, and he's just throwing out a bunch of, seashells and crabs onto the beach, which I thought was funny, kind of having Sebastian and Neil being the ones to set up all their crazy duels, because, they have to, they're Goha employees. He also brings the main cast a change of clothes, so... Which was, totally necessary. But, hey, beach episode, and, everyone's there, and now, cool for a beach. As you can see, I'm dressed appropriately for it as well. But interestingly enough, Yuga can't swim, so I didn't mention it, but in the first episode of season 2, he's also afraid of ladybugs, and I guess maybe some other bugs. So he's afraid of bugs. He can't swim. Some more things that really make sense, because if he's more of an inventor kind of guy, maybe he's not super well versed with outdoor things. So Luke duels instead. That's the duel: Yujin versus Luke. And we learned, though, that Yujin's monsters, all the ones he's summoning, are actually sea serpent type, which I think is pretty neat. There are, I think, one of the smaller monsters he summons is a legacy monster. But, a lot of the other ones, they seem pretty new. And I guess that makes sense, because, sea serpent is one of the monster types in Yu-Gi-Oh! That is, I think it's the single type with the least, monsters. I think, even though Cyberse and Psychic were introduced after it, I think there actually are more Cyberse and Psychic monsters than there are sea serpents. Fun fact. But he's got all these sea serpents, and Euro kind of makes an observation. He's like, hey, I've never seen you use these monsters. And we learned that after ending up in the ocean, Yujin prevents a dolphin, who then brings him a deck from inside the treasure chest. Wacky stuff, but totally fine in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. And, like I said, overall, sure, I get that. I like that. I actually do kind of like it, too. Again, seeing some sea serpent monsters, not very common in Yu-Gi-Oh! So the duel's going on, and come over to Luke's turn. He summons Dragears and attacks over his monsters, gets rid of them, and is about to attack again. However, he does have a trap card that switches them all to defense. And on top of that, he activated Umi, which, another legacy card to Umi, giving all his water-type monsters more attack points. It's funny you can't necessarily tell because, yeah, there was kind of an ocean set up before he activated the field spell, so then it changes to just a bigger ocean, a real ocean, I guess. But now, on Yujin's turn again, he summons out more Sea Serpent monsters, and interestingly enough, his ace monster is Leviathan Dragon Daedalus, and we did see this in the new opening for the series, but interestingly enough, it's not like a new version of Leviathan Dragon Daedalus as, maybe some other monsters might be. It actually just is Leviathan Dragon Daedalus, which is an old monster, and so seeing him straight up have this older monster as his boss monster instead of, something new, kind of interesting, actually. And I guess, kind of leads more into, some of the other legacy monsters that we're going to be seeing, some of the, not twins, the siblings use. And I guess kind of also ties into the ancient treasure, given to him by the dolphin. But, interestingly enough, Daedalus actually has a good effect for rush duels. The problem with it was that it was a level 7 monster, but in rush duels, we're able to just normal summon as much as you can in a turn. That's really nothing, being able to, as long as you can draw it. So its effect is that you can send Umi, the field spell, to the graveyard to destroy every other monster on the field except for itself. Which, again, very powerful effect, but for a level 7 monster in the real game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Not a little difficult to summon. But in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, perfect. So he uses that to get rid of all of Luke's monsters and is able to attack and get Luke down to 200, with bringing out another monster that after he had destroyed it. Luke's down to 200 life points. Then coming over to Luke's turn, he's able to bring out Metagear's Dragon. And, it's seeming like Luke has this in the bag. However, Yujin has an interesting trap card that returns Umi from the graveyard to the deck and would destroy an attacking monster. Yeah, that's it. Would destroy an attacking monster. However, Metagears is immune to trap effects, but this trap card he has an additional effect that he can draw one card, and if that card is Umi, it inflicts 500 damage to his opponent. So everything just comes down to a luck of the draw. And, kind of interesting like that, we get to see this again coming around. However, the card he draws is not Umi. So, it's just kind of funny how he was going basically the whole episode, yes, I'm the man of the sea. And when he really needed it most, he couldn't draw it. Instead, drawing Creek. So that ends the game. Luke attacks for game, and Yujin is blasted off. And on top of that, while he's in the air, drones show up. He's relieved of his duties as a president, a Goha sibling. But, interestingly enough, Yujin didn't seem too serious. Again, he was training very hard at the beginning of the episode to take down Yuga and everyone else. But, after ending up in the ocean, he kind of had this other personality, which, all his siblings were calling a phase. So, I don't think he had too much of a problem with losing. So at the very least, Yuro, Yujin, the first two siblings that we see, they're not too beat up about it. But, the other few siblings that we'll see how they fare. But fun episode, honestly, like I said. I think this one was a little more funny-ish comedic than the last one, but I think it still fit really well in terms of like all the Goha siblings. Now it's seeming like, maybe we'll see some of the more serious ones come into play, especially I forget her name, but it's the one girl. It seems like she'll be dueling in the next episode. So seeing all of them coming in, it's pretty neat. I'm enjoying this arc so far. I feel like I have to mention, but Swirly is there, and he's used for one gag yet again. So it seems like Swirly is a gag character. I don't know why Swirly lives in my head rent free, but just because I guess we spent a whole episode with him. But it seemed like he's a gag character, so I can take that. Fun little gag character. But yeah, cool episode. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I kind of think I like last episode better, but definitely from what we've seen of Yura and Yujin, great. I'm really excited to see the rest of them. I did forget, though, at the very end of the episode, while sadly Mimi's cleaning out her desk and is leaving, so sad, we get a little peek at something underneath some of the levels, something deep within Goha, where it seems like a bunch of big drones. They're silhouetted, and they kind of seem like the silhouette of Goha, President Goha before we knew what he really was, but just more of them. And so interestingly enough, we know that the Goha drone is working with one of the twins. I forget his name. They all have similar names. But Yuo is the one that's actually the big evil one. So the drone is working with Yuo. So it seems like maybe there are more of them. It's very, very Dark Trooper reveal scene from The Mandalorian, but interesting. So we'll see where that goes, but definitely a fun episode, and I'm excited to see where things go. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy this episode? Are you ready for some beach summer vibes with the, a beach episode where, they had to bring the beach to the school? But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll continue the discussion down there. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to show your support, and you can enable notifications, so make sure you see each new video as it comes out. But anyway, this has been Rex. Have a nice day.